Okay, wish me good luck on this. Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven in 5 minutes. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as if someone gently rapping on my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Merely this and nothing more. Ah, distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, as each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vaguely I had sought to borrow from my book cerise of sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, that it is and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating, then no longer. "Sir," said I, or madam, "truly your forgiveness I implore, but the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that scarce I was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door." Darkness there and nothing more. Deep into the darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore." This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, "Lenore." Merely this and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning. "Surely," said I, soon again I heard a tapping somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is somewhere at my window lattice. Let me see then where thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when, with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven from the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mine of lord and lady perched above my chamber door. Perched upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. "Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou," I said, "art short no craven, ghastly grim and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." Much I marvelled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above its chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above its chamber door, with such name as Nevermore. But the raven sitting lonely on the placid bust spoke only, without one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing further than he uttered, not a feather then he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, "Other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before." Then the bird said, "Nevermore." Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, "Doubtless," said I, "what it utters is its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master through unmerciful disaster, followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of nevermore." But the raven still beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled on cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, with his grim, ungainly, ghastly gaunt, an ominous bird of yore, meant in croaking, "Nevermore." This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing, till the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining who the lamplight gloated o'er, she shall press, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, as if perfumed by an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. "Wretch!" I cried, "thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, and nepent thee from thy memories of Lenore, quoth, this kind nepent thee, and forget the lost Lenore." quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet stilleth bird or devil, where the tempest send or where the tempest toss thee here ashore. This my little daughter, or this death land enchanted, or this home my horror haunted. Tell me truly, I implore, is there balm of Gilead? Tell me, I implore, quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, I said I think of evil, prophet stilleth bird or devil. By the heaven that bends above us, by the God we both adore, tell this soul is sorrow laden, if in that distant Aden, thick hearts of sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore, class of rare and radiant maiden that the angels name Lenore, quoth the raven nevermore. Be thou word or sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked of starting. Get thee back into the tempest of the night plutonium shore. Leave no plume as a token of thy lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit thy bust upon my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven nevermore. And the raven never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of palace just above my chamber door. And his eyes are both the seeming of a demon that is dreaming, and there's lamplight over streaming through his shadow on the floor. And my soul from out the shadow that was floating on the floor shall be lifted.